Logging in on Idle Heroes today, you will see this message. Dear players, to offer you a better game experience, we made some adjustments to the wave rewards in Fort Defense under the trial mode. We apologize for any inconvenience caused. Please accept the following compensation. So, let's just take that first sentence. To offer you a better game experience. Okay, let's see what the devs mean by better game experience. Well, take a look at trial mode. You'll see, okay, doesn't look like too much has changed. The reward chests are still here. However, I've already completed up to wave 45. If I go ahead and throw down a fight, it's going to take me into wave 41. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to intentionally throw. I'm actually not going to go ahead and fight this. I'm going to show you the rewards that you get from this. So here come the little blobs of death destroying my tower. There we go. Let's go ahead and assume, yeah, I made it to wave 40. Congratulations. I press OK. What rewards did I get? Oh, I didn't. All we can get is more hammers and more gold. Now that means everybody who worked really hard to get up on the leaderboard for trial mode has just been smacked in the face, because a lot of people grinded hours and hours and hours and hours of their time to get high up on here. I certainly managed to make it to wave 49, then made it to 50, and that for me was huge. I was like, this is going to be a milestone. I'll be able to push way higher now because the next hard wave is wave 75. I died at wave 50. It was miserable, and I was furious. I was really upset about that, because it counted me only up to wave 49, so I was pushed back to where I started, and I kind of didn't play this game mode for a while after that because I was really upset. A lot of people have been in a similar mindset with this game mode. Some have succeeded on their grind, some have made it all the way up to wave 100. Congratulations to you guys who are the top of the leaderboard. But all that means nothing now, because you can no longer get Stellar Shards every single day for grinding this out. That means the whole incentive behind this game mode is gone. Now, this is an issue for two reasons. First of all, when you commit loads and loads of time to something expecting to get rewards, you'd like to think those rewards would stick around. 3,000 gems really isn't enough to give to the people who actually spent hours and hours and hours of their lives when they could have been doing anything else, playing Diablo 4, right? The new game that just came out. Maybe grinding some more runs on Elden Ring. Heck, they could have been just enjoying themselves, getting better at chess or whatever other games you guys play in your spare time. Heck, you could have hung out with family and friends, you know, that important thing that we gamers pretend we have. Either way, they could have done so much more with their time, and instead they chose to grind out this game mode where we specifically were promised 3 million Stellar Shards a month. That is huge, and to have that taken away from us is a massive insult. When players play games, they're incentivized to chase rewards. Rewards that give them an edge, give them an improvement. You don't just chase a reward because it's cool. We normally, as human beings, chase rewards that fix problems. Why do we stick with jobs that we don't necessarily enjoy? It's because without the money from that job, we would have a miserable existence. We wouldn't be able to pay rent for ourselves. We wouldn't be able to buy food. It would suck. So you put out an average job, get some money just so you can live. It's that same mindset for this. We struggle to build heroes with Stellar Shards. We have so many things that need Stellar Shards now. Void imprints, Tree of Origin improvements. And because of the Glory Challenge giving so many of those essences that can be used to go ahead and improve a hero in the Tree of Origin, it means the one thing we're stuck on is Stellar Shards. Everyone needs them. There's a reason we encourage you to grab them from spheres, so the fact that they were giving them in this was really cool. To take that away from us, and not only to take it away from us as players, but take it away from people who've grinded tons and tons of hours, dozens of hours of their lives away, just to try and get rewards that they can't get, is a big screw over. So what does this mean for us as a community? Well, it means we have a really rubbish week. Viking Saga, when it comes back, is normally really good. It combines with Sky Labyrinth, which is what it should be, and Wishing Coins, so that free-to-play players and spenders can get a lot of rewards just by engaging with the normal game modes. DHGames tried to experiment this time around and instead decided to link it to profit orbs. This has been a huge disaster. It really doesn't give us good rewards as normal, and it's left people feeling a little upset, especially when you consider that next week is Sky Labyrinth, so they could have just delayed it by a week. You know, there's a lot of solutions to this problem that the devs just ignored, mainly because they didn't realize that they were problems in the first place. And this seems to be a trend with DHGames at the moment. They seem to be doing things without realizing how bad they're going to be. Now, why is that? Well, I think one reason is because Anniversary is coming up, so a lot of their attention is over there, and that's been backed up. We've heard from the development team that actually the people behind the Fantasy Arcade are not the same developers that design the game. The people that made Fantasy Arcade are a team from a different game whose game was scrapped and have now been assigned to making mini-games, because if you didn't know, DHGames had a bit of a crisis this year where they realized a lot of the games they were investing in weren't making a lot of money, so they decided to double down on the games that are making money, like Idle Heroes. It's almost like they've realized Idle Heroes is their most successful thing and they should probably put their attention on that. Unfortunately though, because they are putting so much into Idle Heroes, they've got now different teams working on it, and these different teams just don't have the same understanding about the game as the main development team. That then leads to situations like we've had with the Fantasy Arcade, where they've just thrown in a bunch of rewards and gone, this is cool, and no one's really checked it or tested it. I think this is just a huge mistake from the development over minds, whatever the people are, the supervisors of the whole project that is Idle Heroes, because they could have just checked this and gone, this doesn't look right. And the fact that people were grinding and playing this game mode for the Stellar Shards just goes to show the only reason people engage with stuff is because it gives them rewards that fixes their problems. To then take those rewards away to fix this problem they've made for themselves it's awkward. The devs have specifically said that about 95% of players weren't even engaging with the Fantasy Arcade. And it makes sense. The game mode was laggy, a lot of phones couldn't run it, phones that could run it would just crash anyway when the wave got weird. I knew the BlueStacks, LD Player, all the emulators were having a horrid time trying to just function. I had to just adjust all the settings and it made it only marginally better. It was just a really poorly optimized game mode. Hopefully you've seen me playing it, you'll know Fantasy Arcade's tower mode is just rough. Fort Defense was poorly made, and it seems that they've put this team to it. They've made this crappy game mode and they've thought, oh, we'll just add it to the game anyway because it's fun for the players. And the developers specifically said, we want people to play it for fun, not just for rewards. This is a disaster. This demonstrates a huge lack of understanding in game design. When any game is made, people don't just play for fun. If you've looked at people talk about Breath of the Wild, for example, there needed to be clear landmarks, buildings, towers, things on the map that when you're walking around, you see and you are drawn to the reward of finding out what they are. If you're playing an RPG like Dungeons and Dragons or Skyrim, aimlessly wandering around can be fun for a little bit, but you need eventually some incentive and reward to either continue that aimless wandering, or there needs to be some eventual guidance that pops up that gives you some semblance of a story. For example, if I said to a group of my D&D players, which is Dungeons and Dragons, if I said, hey, you've got two choices, go save the princess or go get the legendary sword from the cave, most of them would just let that princess die and go and get the sword. Why? Because princess is useless, sword kills things better. I want the legendary sword. People chase reward, right? They chase the cool thing that they're like, this will help me out and make me stronger. That's why this new game mode was successful. It had nothing to do with the game mode being good, it was purely the Stellar Shards. If the devs can just take that tiny bit of knowledge and apply it to the wider game, they'll realize that they can make the game that is Idle Heroes so much more interesting, or they'll realize why we enjoy playing it. Void Vortex, Tower of Dreams, Void Campaign, these game modes reward us with Celestial Island resources and Stellar Shards, which then have a positive feedback loop that make our heroes stronger, that then means we can engage further with those game modes and get more resources, fueling the fire of progress, success, and reward. The Fantasy Arcade's only redeeming factor was that it gave Stellar Shards, and that is now gone. People don't play things just for fun unless it's absolutely god-tier legendary amazing. And last time I checked, this new Fantasy Arcade wasn't the new Elden Ring or Diablo 4. It is just a crappy mini game that they threw into Idle Heroes. So my thoughts for you guys are just to basically take this one on the chin. There's nothing we can do. All we can say is, oh, well, that sucks. Guess they took away the one thing that made that game mode interesting. And unfortunately, it means we're all going to now just ignore the Fantasy Arcade. I don't care about a few extra gold if it means I have to sit through that annoying and frustrating game mode. It was fun for like the first few days, but after it just became a chore, it wasn't good. Except for the fact that we're getting those Stellar Shards. So now that that's been taken away, I'm not going to engage with it. I'm guessing a lot of you guys aren't going to engage with it. I know a lot of people in my comment sections were saying, oh, we don't like the game mode anyway, so for you guys, this is a win. But for the people that actually wanted to grind out, this sucks. But it does mean the game is back to how it was, and I wouldn't be surprised if the development team remove the Fantasy Arcade entirely. And that's one thing I'm a little upset about. For having a new game mode be released, be hyped, have a lot of people get excited for it, and to then take the rewards away from us has left us with this awkward thing of knowing that there's rewards at the top end of this, but until they add something new to the Fantasy Arcade where we can achieve more of these stars, which was their intention, right? They wanted to add several mini games to this. Until that's done, unfortunately, I don't think there's any way we can claim these top rewards easily, right? Unless you really want to grind out the fort defense. If the team that are responsible for this game mode end up getting sacked on the back of this disaster, it means we might not actually get any more Fantasy Arcade stuff and the devs could backtrack. If you think that's not going to happen, then just remind yourselves about what recently happened with the Treasure Train. We were offered these Treasure Charm coupons and they weren't very successful when they came out. So instead, the devs overhauled the Treasure Train system and now made it a monthly thing, which I personally think is much better. And then to apologize for the treasure coupons, they gave us this that allows us to exchange the coupons into normal Treasure Train tickets. This is fine. This was good. This was a really smart fix to a problem that they put themselves in. Fingers crossed Anniversary is going to be okay, though. Hopefully, this is just evidence that the devs have put a lot of their time and attention into Anniversary, and I think now people who are on the edge of quitting over this disaster are thinking to themselves, let's just hope the devs redeem themselves with Anniversary. If the devs can pull a blinder at Anniversary and make a really good event, I'm sure a lot of people will forget about this and move on. It's just because this week is a quiet week. There's not a lot going on. Fantasy Arcade was the only interesting thing last week. And to have us with this bubbled up anticipation for Anniversary and then to see disasters like this unfold, it's just bad timing and leaves a lot of people feeling upset. Yes, the devs can learn a strong lesson from this about game design. Yes, tons of people weren't even engaging with Fantasy Arcade in the first place, but my heart goes out to you guys that grinded tons and tons of hours to get some Stellar Shards that have now been taken away. Let me know what you think in the comments section, guys. I'm a bit upset about this, and I'm sure I'll get over it, but it's one of those things that you just think, this could have been avoided if the devs just understood their game and how players think a little bit better. Either way, folks, I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a good week, and happy idling.